And she had 3 kids. The mother's not going to do that. Women take pills. Women don't go out when it's 10 below and decide that they're going to stick their head in the lake.
Not Wisconsin, especially 3 kids on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, there was no way. And this woman was so mad that they had declared it a suicide. She actually came to one of my clients and was throwing books across the woman's bedroom.
Exactly. See, this is what I have found a few times on my travels as a psychic and investigator is and people will misinterpret it as an evil spirit or something. It's really just a spirit trying to get your attention, right?
Right. And so the thing with her is she was so mad, she would have had to have let go of her anger to go to heaven.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And she couldn't do that.
Right. And that's the thing, they get attached to whatever it is that's got them, that they couldn't cross over for, they get attached to something, and they just won't let go. Material things mean nothing or whatever. If we could just learn to let all that go, you can always come back and visit or something, but you've got to cross over when you've got that opportunity. Whenever that opportunity comes, you've got to take it, right?
Right. That's the thing I kind of see is a lot of these earthbound spirits, they haven't had, they had the opportunity, they didn't take it, and they don't know how to do it again.
Right, and so now they're kind of like, people with abilities that are way more than like you or me or somebody else that were like beacons of the night to them. So they'll follow us or try to get our attentions if we come across them. I'm sure you've come across that, especially you.
And that's what was happening for me is I was a pharmaceutical rep in the hospital, and they knew I had powers, and they thought, well, she's going someplace that's more interesting than here.
Yeah, right. You were like a beacon in the night to them. So you must have had a whole, you must have been a Pied Piper to spirits. I mean, really. Wow.
Yeah, it's, and the thing, hopefully the generations coming up won't have to wonder what this is and go through the thousands of dollars of hospital bills I had before I realized it was spirit.
Oh, right.
There's no path that tells you, oh yeah, you have dead beings attached to you. That's what's going on.
Exactly. And you know what? That brings me to my next question. Have you ever had attachments on you, or have you ever dislodged attachments from other people? That's my hardest thing is I get people attached. I get beings attaching to me. Then the other thing, which is interesting, I don't know how you feel about possession, but I've run across a couple of situations where the spirit was definitely influencing the person that was alive. Oh, yeah, definitely.
I had a client who her husband was drinking, and a lot. And she told me they were getting divorced. It wasn't if, it was just when. And then when I talked to her husband, his best friend had died 2 years previously, and his best friend liked to drink.
Wow.
And when I asked them, his best friend's ashes were in the hall closet, and for some reason they couldn't get the door open to the closet. And so I sent his friend to heaven, and he quit drinking immediately.
Wow. That is a beautiful story right there. Wow.
And so the woman called me 6 months later, and she goes, we're having another baby now. So I just want you to know that, you saved our marriage.
That is a beautiful thing right there. And it just is. And I got to tell you, these attachments, people do things that, you got to know this because you're a psychic medium. When we do things that alter our energy field, no matter what it is, whether it be drinking or, whatever it is, that attracts things, and plus it lowers it lowers your defenses on top of that. So it opens you up, and I have found if there's spirits out there that were had addictions or whatever, and somebody is doing that or around that where there's a spirit, they will attach to them to live through them vicariously, and then their personality changes and everything. And I think there's a lot more out there in this world than people realize. I just do.
Oh yeah. And even, I'll get clients where there'll be ghost energy going through their house because the ghosts are kind of going between two bars, or just the overflow area from a bar will be haunting a house. Because, they love bars.
Well, yeah, you know what? There's a lot of haunted bars out there, I got to tell you. But if you think about it, if a bar's been around 40, 50 years, how many people OD'd in the bathroom or died in a parking lot or whatever, you know?
Well, the thing the angels tell me is beings of low moral fortitude get possessed.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of being drunk is a low moral fortitude situation.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right. Okay.
Yeah, so I always watch that too.
Yeah, and I listen, even me, I've had 2 attachments in my lifetime, and you know what, I knew right away, but I let my guard down. I shouldn't have did. I realized it,
yeah.
and me being stubborn man, I said no, it's not. But I knew. I'm like, yeah, but no, yeah, but no. But I mean, I got them off right away. But have you had some things like that where you knew you picked something up, or have you ever picked something up because you let your guard down or whatever?
Oh yeah. The other thing they're showing me is I had a client that was an artist, and her artwork had changed dramatically, and she knew it wasn't her. And when I looked at it, her aunt had died of AIDS.
Oh wow!
And was doing artwork through her because she wanted to leave, something of value to the world.
Wow.
And that can happen. Attachments,
amazing.
It's deep water, it really is. And I think that I've gotten better putting, and I think that's another thing that's really scary when you start realizing you have beings of low more, they are attracted to light. So when you start realizing that you're a medium and that you can do light work, all the beings that don't make their own energy start flocking to you to try to get you to help them before you realize that they're there and what's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I get it, yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Have you come across animals that have picked up a spirit attachment?
Oh, that's a good question.
I've always wondered about that.
What happens, okay, I haven't seen it, but what happens is people can, okay, this is weird, but back to cats. People can go inside a cat and use it to see a situation.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
I've seen people, watch their ex-boyfriend through a cat.
Oh, my. So you're talking about as a spirit?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Isn't that something? I never thought about that. Wow. Cats
allow that, which is really weird, but they do.
So cats aren't only a conduit, but they can betray us and be a little bit sneaky.
Yeah.
We gotta watch our cats. I got 3 or 4 of them floating around, so they won't come in my house. Now, what's up with that?
Oh, I love cats. You just have to make sure that they're not carrying anything with them.
I know, and I've wondered about that because I always wondered, animals. Because I know I've come across a couple. I've been on cases, and I've thought, man, I really think this animal has a spirit attachment. I'm like, am I losing my mind, or is this really happening? So that's why I love to confer with you on that.
Yeah, it would be interesting to look at. Well, because usually they fight, they'll see the ghost and they'll fight it because they see ghosts a lot easier. Right.
Well, the reason I asked, I don't mean like a strange. I should be more specific. Say somebody. The one case I knew, the older guy died, and he left his dog to I think his niece, and the dog was acting weird, like he's talking to somebody or somebody's talking to, and I think the owner was attached to the dog and stayed.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? And stay with the dog.
Yeah, I could easily see that happen.
Okay, that's what I've come across. I should have been more specific. I don't know if a strange spirit could attach to an animal or not. That's why I was curious if you ever come across that in your travels. But
I could see a ghost attached to a dog. That would be easy to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially if it belonged to them in the beginning. The other thing, this just came up. That dog, the happy dog, died yesterday. Boo.
Mm-hmm.
And it had a friend that died, and then they said its heart was broke. And so it died shortly after, too. It's a Pomeranian that they cut short. If you look on Twitter, it was like #1 trending Twitter today.
Oh,
and that happens a lot. Like one dog dies and then will come back from heaven to the other dog and be like, it's so much better over here than where you are.
Oh, so
you don't want to go with me?
So
yeah.
it just kind of dies of a broken heart, so to speak, just to go with its mate.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Okay.
And the other dog that died will be involved in that. Like they'll be talking them into it, which just seems weird, but they do that.
It is kind of something else, isn't it? Well, let me ask you this question. Have you ever come across an animal that has died but came back to life? You know, so in other words, they had died like a human, crossed over almost, or was on the fence, but it wasn't their time or whatever, and came back. Have you ever come across? Yeah, have you ever talked to an animal that has experienced that like a human?
A near-death experience.
Yes, a near-death experience. Yes.
I really have. The other thing I was going to say is angels and guides can go into cats and dogs too. You don't see it that often.
Now you're talking about you're talking about our guides. Is that what you're talking about?
Right. Right.
Okay.
So like I run across times when like, because basically our angels and guides are just sitting there looking at us because they can only help us if we ask, and nobody ever asks them to do anything. And they get really concerned if people get ungrounded and are kind of doing stuff that's weird. So I ran into multiple times where angels will come through a cat. Again, there's not a long term. They don't have anything to learn. They just come and they do their job and leave. But a cat will ground you and get you and can touch you in a way that your guides can't.
Okay, interesting.
So they do that. And or protect you in a way that your angels can't because they're in physical form.
Now, let me ask you this. Is there animals out there, or like a species of animals that is more toward the darker side, so to speak, that's less less ability to communicate with or be friendly to? That you've ever come across?
I haven't come across that. I was raised on a farm, so we were always pro-cat and anti-mouse. But I was doing an event at a state fair where they were lined up to talk to me, and this kid had like 3 mice and not mice, rats, which I'm like, oh, great, I get to talk to rats. And they were really nice.
So they wasn't uniting against you or nothing, man. I mean, for all your
and the kid
bad
wouldn't get out of line because he was so happy to talk to his rats. It was funny.
Oh, that is fascinating. That brings up a good question, though. You think about it, you're living on a farm, you're getting rid of all the rats, and then you got 3 rats wanting a question talk to you. It's like, oh no.
I know. Stop this. And when I was writing my book, I had a tarantula like really stalk me, and they're kind of cool little animals too.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really dark and evil like you think that they are.
No, I've never thought of them like that anyway. But go ahead.
Well, this tarantula kept showing up at my house, and I'd kick him outside, and I'd come back home, and he'd be here again. And
you live in the desert. Is that why they're
right?
Okay, right. Go ahead.
Yeah, and this guy was like the size of my hand. He was a big tarantula, and the 3rd time he came back, I thought I could vacuum you up. And when I thought that, he shuddered.
Well, yeah.
Like he shook. And I was like, oh shit, you know what I thought.
Oh wow.
So I didn't kill him because of that. It's like, okay,
right. Well, I got to ask you when you said that to him, what was it? Did he say anything back to you, or he just shuddered?
He just shuddered. He shuddered and was like, oh my God, yeah.
That poor guy, he's scary with the vacuum cleaner, the shop vac. Oh boy! But he was stalking you for a couple of days anyway. Did he want something, or he was just kind of fascinated with you think?
Well, and the funny thing is, so that was the story, and then like 2 years later, I was editing. I put it in my book. I was deciding whether or not to put his story in the book, and I was walking my dog about 5 houses away. There was a tarantula booking down the road. And I'm like, you're going to my house, aren't you?
He's going to come visit.